Hi students, I am introducing the topic content inventory in this new course. You may have already heard or read a lot about this topic before, and since you are a student interested in the topic of content and content marketing, I presume you may have taken the pains to learn more on this subject in the past. I have decided to make a course on this topic because content inventory is an important part of any attempt made in marketing using content. One can even say that it is an essential part of every content project. See, I have broken down the complete course into 12 lectures, and in each lecture we shall briefly cover the subtopics of content inventory. Before venturing into the topic, let me make a very small request to all of you, which is that if you have any important points to add in this course which I may have missed in the course, or if you feel a particular issue is not stressed or not taken as important as it should have been and that it should be added to this course, then do inform me so that I can add to it. I will take this opportunity to add such ideas or such suggestions into this course and help other students by sharing that information on the topic. Not only that, I presume it will increase the quality of my course further. Okay then, let us get on with the course now. If you have come across the topic of content inventory, then you know that a content inventory is a detailed representation of data of a website or any other content set that you are processing. I think the name of the process itself gives out what actually it is. We normally use the term inventory to indicate the list of a stock or collection, which means the list of each and every item of a cluster, of a group. So in our case, a content inventory will represent a list of every content that a set of content has, which could be a website or a blog or any social media platform and so on. Now that we know what a content inventory is, let us assess why do we need a content inventory? What does it actually do for us? And how does it help our cause of marketing, etc.? Let me now explain to you the need of a content inventory, particularly for a content project. And let me tell you how a content inventory can help us in many of its ways. There are a variety of reasons which calls for a content inventory in a content project. I shall explain one by one them to you. First of all, a content inventory can help you assess the existing landscape of your website. A content inventory will give you details of all the existing features of your website with clarity. This is one information which will immensely help you in your website development and improvement or a migration project at a later stage. A content inventory will also give you a rough idea about where you or your website stand with regard to other websites of your competitors. I mean to say that it will bring out how good your website is at present, which will give you an idea on what needs to be done to make it better and effective. Now coming to the second point, a content inventory will provide all data required for a content project estimation. I mean, suppose you have been advised that your website needs a revamp and it is not up to date and it requires improvement for optimizing it as an effective marketing channel, then the first thing you will require to do is to see what you have already on your website, which means in the first place you will need to do a content inventory, and this will give you an idea where your present website stands and, as I explained before, what more needs to be done to it for each and every part of your website. So in essence, a content inventory is required to estimate the quantum of work which would be required to be carried out, and you may have a rough estimate of work involved. And I think it is definitely better than having no idea of what type of work or what quantum of work is involved. Let me tell you that content projects are always ambiguous in nature. You can't do predictable quantifications of content projects, which is really a problem because when you consider the substantial amount of finances involved in such projects, if you are a big organization, then with finances being dealt by a different department, there could be disagreements over this aspect between your marketing and financial departments. Now, a content inventory will help you in resolving these issues by providing you a rough and realistic assessment of work involved and the resources required for your content project, which can be used for convincing all your stakeholders by providing them a rough estimate. Coming to the third point of our discussion, let me tell you that a content inventory can help you identify the exact patterns of content structure you have on your website. By identifying these patterns, you will recognize the way you have been creating and publishing content. And this information can help you in altering the structure of your website and optimize its functions more. See, these are tips that help you if you have never studied the layout of your website before. I mean, if you are executing a content project for the first time. Many a time, content creators just keep on publishing content without a plan or a name in place. And a content inventory provides a clear picture of contents that you have been publishing on your website. A content inventory will itemize all your website content into various patterns in the content structure. Later on, through an audit, you can reorganize and make a desirable structure and layout for all your content on your website and optimize it for better result. The fourth point is important and is an essential requirement of a content project. Content inventory is usually the first step of a content project, and generally it accumulates a list of all content existing at that instance on a website. Now, this is what you have on your website in whatever format or structure or layout. Suppose you are conducting this inventory in the first place to improve and optimize your website. So a content inventory acts as a perfect point of reference after the project is completed. The particulars of content that existed before the commencement of a project and when the project is completed will provide an exact idea on what the website was before and what it is now after upgrading it. See, you can also check progress of a content project during its execution to make an assessment how much resources and finances you have been putting into it and see if it is giving you the results as you had desired and whether it is on the right track or not. So with all that what we discussed, I hope you understand that it is essential to know the amount of work gone into a project, especially for such a huge complex projects like a content project. Let me tell you that these are important aspects for any project. Let me now come to the fifth and the final point on the need of a content inventory, which is that a content inventory helps in doing a proper migration tracking of a website from an old one to a new design. We know that a content inventory is a list of all the content, the URLs of your website. Now, when you migrate this content to a newly developed site, this list will help in a big way, as it allows you to tick off the content you have already transferred and do the process meticulously without missing any one of them. This list will help you decide what content needs to be migrated to your new website and what needs to be discarded and what needs to be modified. In short, a content inventory helps make the migration process of a website simpler and easier to execute. I am concluding this lecture here. Hope you realize the need and importance of a content inventory for a content project from what I have explained just now. Let me add here, content projects are often complex and confusing. So a content inventory is a must as it gives a lot of clarity on the state of a website and gives a direction on what needs to be done to optimize it. And believe me, it will save a lot of your time in every decision making process for your website revamping. Adding to that, you will get newer ideas when you look at the whole picture of your website with a lot more clarity. So, see you in my next lecture. Thank you for completing this lecture and have a good day.